The only thing in the Chinese zodiac that does not exist in reality is the dragon. Is it really a creature that only exists in myths and legends? According to records, in the 1930s, tens of thousands of people had the honor of witnessing a real dragon with their own eyes, which shocked the world and was reported by major media outlets. In the summer of 1934, Xinjiang Times published a report titled, "Dragon Descent Causing Disaster," saying that on July 28, a dragon descended from the sky in Yinko and was resurrected. Before that, a large number of villagers in Yinko claimed to have witnessed a live dragon flying. The representative characteristics are highly consistent with myths and legends. The dragon is gray, about 10 meters long, swimming like a snakehead, and has horns like a cow. A dozen days after this incident, a second report appeared, titled, "The Dragon and the Thunder Combination," describing a dying dragon found along the Liaohe River. Today's story will definitely subvert your imagination. It is recommended that you tag a knowledgeable friend to watch it with you. In August 1934, Li Zongping was fishing in the reed marshes by the river as usual, but strangely, he, who could return with a full load every day, was now. After fishing for more than 10 times, he didn't catch any fish. Just when he was about to turn back and go home, he suddenly saw a huge black shadow swimming in the water on the side of the fishing boat. This scene frightened Li Zongping so much that he trembled all over. The black shadow was very fast and swam to the reeds on the side. He had lived in this reed marsh all his life. He knew what was in the lake very well, but this thing was bigger than he could imagine. It looked more like a big python, but even water snakes were rare in this water, so how could there be such a big python? The more he thought about it, the more scared he became. He quickly paddled the boat to the shore, but he was paddling towards the shore. When he was about to swim, there was a sudden surge under the water, and his boat was lifted off the water. He lost his balance and plunged into the water. Li Zongping had been dealing with water all his life. He immediately steadied himself and carefully observed the situation under the water. He saw the thing quickly passing in front of him. Although he could not see the whole picture, he still saw that the thing was covered with scales and had claws. He was very scared at the time and swam to the shore desperately. After he got ashore, he breathed a sigh of relief and staggered home. Not long after he got home, it started to rain heavily. The rain was so heavy that it seemed as if there was a hole in the sky. That night, a man from another village not far from the north bank of the Liaohe River could not go out to play cards because of the heavy rain, so he prepared to go to bed early. Just as he was pulling the curtains at the door, he saw a dragon-shaped creature flying up to the sky in the reed marsh near the village. As soon as it flew into the air, a sudden thunderclap sounded, hitting him right on the body. Then he dodged left and right in the heavy rain, but the lightning seemed to have eyes and kept chasing him and hitting him. He had never seen such a weird thing in his life, so he quickly called himself. His wife came to see, but when his wife walked to the window, the lightning that was running around and the dragon that was dodging in the air had disappeared. The heavy rain continued for several days. When the rain stopped, many villagers gathered together and talked about what they saw that night. The villagers said that the dragon seemed to be going up to the sky, but as soon as it flew up, it was struck by lightning, and this happened many times. The villagers speculated that it might be a python that wanted to cultivate immortality and overcome tribulations, but it was punished by heaven. However, many people said that what they saw that night was real and clear. It was a giant dragon with horns on its head and claws on its body. There was another close eyewitness to this incident, Lu Bu from Kaishu village. He recalled that because of the heavy rain for several days in a row, the crops were all flooded, so he wanted to go to the fields to have a look when the rain stopped. But when he walked to a reed marsh on the river bank, he heard a series of cat and cow calls. He walked closer and saw a strange animal lying in the mud. When he saw it clearly, he couldn't help but gasp. This thing was clearly a dragon. At this time, his body was covered with wounds, attracting a lot of flies. It gave off a foul smell that he could not stop. His heart was like a raging sea. He thought, could it be that he had actually seen the dragon in the myth? Seeing the dragon slowly breathing, he thought, if he didn't find a way, he might not survive under the scorching sun. He quickly called the villagers to help. When everyone heard that there was a dragon trapped on the shore, they all came to the rescue with buckets, water, and branches to build a shed. Everyone believed that the dragon was a lucky thing, so they all wanted to save it, but after working hard for a long time, it seemed to be of no use. The dragon was still lying motionless on the ground, and many people were kneeling on the ground, praying to God to spare the dragon. Because many people thought that the heavy rains in recent days were caused by the fallen dragon. But now the dragon was already wounded, so they prayed to God to spare his life. But strangely, it was sunny just now. Suddenly, the sky was covered with dark clouds again. Seeing that a heavy rain was coming, the villagers who were rescuing stopped. They didn't know what the sky was going to do, and they were afraid that the thunder would strike again and they would be in trouble. The fires were scattered, and the rain poured down, leaving only the dragon lying in the mud. The rain continued for 2 more days, but this time there was no lightning and thunder like the last time. When the rain stopped, the people were still thinking about the fallen dragon. They all ran to the reed marsh to see what had happened to it. But at this time, the dragon had disappeared, leaving only a deep mark. Later, the incident spread, and major media at home and abroad reported it. This incident was the Yinko Dragon falling incident that shocked the whole country.